that anyway.
Thank you. Sarah brought up a question about flight course or flight stop priority. And there was, what happens if I go up to Michigan, am I going to be on a wait list and things like that? In general, what our policy is, aside from 2 locations, what we do is if anybody is currently flying with Western Michigan University and they communicate with us appropriately, saying that I want to continue flying with you, those students have the absolute priorities. Okay, so we're not going to bring on additional students until we take care of the people that we're dealing with right now. I do know that there was a fair amount of Michigan students that said, oh, I don't want to have to be told no, I'm heading down to Florida to take flying. And at that time, we said, don't be doing this just to get your foot in the door and then come right back. Well, that was us talking before this happened. You absolutely, every single Florida student is going to have priority over any new students that we're going to bring onto the flight line. And so our intent, whether you come back summer 1, summer 2, or this coming fall, is to integrate you back into the flying population, number 1. Okay, I should say number 1, bringing back on. So we're going to take care of the existing students that are actively flying in Western in Michigan, and then integrate the Punta Gorda before we take on any new students to the flight roster. Okay. The only other place that you might have a problem is a multi-engine waitlist. I don't know if you've heard about that at all. Just what our process is up in Michigan is that we have a smaller cadre of instructors that are qualified to teach in the multi-engine. And so anytime that a student finishes up instrument and then switches over to multi-engine flying, almost guaranteed that they're going to have a flight instructor change. And so what happens is we get the FAA instrument check ride out of the way, and then we put that student over assigned to Annie Cordovas, who's in charge of scheduling, to find you a new instructor. At any time, there may be a dozen to 2 dozen students that are waiting to be assigned to a flight instructor for the multi-engine ranks. Okay? But that happens whether you're a Michigan student, Florida student, whatever.
Like I said, with that, how long do you think it would take if, like, say I start my multi-engine down here and I'm only like 5 or a couple lessons from finishing, and I go up there, how long do you think it would take to...
Okay. Again, the whole philosophy of we take people that are currently actively flying and have them as a priority. So, for example, let's say you have a Michigan student that is flying 10 lessons away from the FAA check ride, and that student's instructor is hired off by the airlines. If we have sort of a wait list there waiting for a multi-engine assignment, that displaced student goes to the top of the list. Okay, so if someone is actively flying, we put high priority to keeping them actively flying. Okay, so if someone is displaced because they're moving from Punta Gorda up to Michigan, you'll go to the top of the list. But if it's you and 7 others, somehow it's just going to be you and 7 others sharing the top of the list. Okay, does that answer your question? Yes.
How big is the displaced multi-engine waitlist, and what do you predict it will be at the end of August 31st?
Okay, you see this crystal ball? It is so foggy I can't predict anything going out that far. How big is it right now? We've got about 22 people on the list, of which 11 of them are ready to fly. Okay, so about 11. And just this past Friday, you've got wonderful weather down here. It might be a little bit hot and humid, and I think 4 weeks ago, the temperature was 125 degrees colder than it was right now. It was minus 40. But anyways, last Friday we had a great weather day, and we got 6 people off that list. Okay, so how fast people move off the list really depends on where they're at in the training, how many check rides we can get through, and things like that. Okay, how long? I can't tell you. And mostly, it's probably about a month and a half. Okay.
I didn't see the facts question, but I take it there's not any ability to keep at least the flight park open down here at the airport.
As of right now, no. But we have asked the question. And we are, Cirrus down here this week?
Yeah, there is, one of our priorities, all of you, all of us, have been put in a very dark situation. And our priority is to try to take care of you guys the best that we can, and to try to remove any barriers to progress. And, you know, all of a sudden, there's high priority in getting the flying lessons done. You have two seminal aircraft, 4 Cirrus aircraft down here, and we're concerned about the Cirrus aircraft, and we've got squawks are down for maintenance, then it's gonna back up the flight. So we're looking at enhancing the fleet, and probably within a week, you'll have another Cirrus down here. And then we're looking at, do we even need to bring a 6th Cirrus down, or do we supplement it somehow with maintenance, additional maintenance abilities?
Do you have instructors to fill those planes?
We weren't planning right now to move instructors down here, but we'll take a look at it. Jim didn't think that there was going to be a problem. The main concern that Jim had was the serviceability of the aircraft. Is there problems with the quantity of instructors? I haven't heard that yet, but if you guys are seeing it, let me know about it.
Yeah, there's no reason for this, in the last bit.
Talking with Pierre, I had a meeting with Pierre last night, and I hear, there's no reason for them to sit around at all. Why not head over to the east side of the state, or out to Arizona, or something else like that? I think that a lot of, you know, the temporary instructors, we talked about Robert and you know, the younger instructors there, they seem to be tied here pretty tightly. And I think Colton probably is
Stuff, cause yes.
is probably going to be here just about to the end of August, because that's about when he'll get his magical hours to head off to the airlines. Okay. The other thing is they see they're doing a fair amount of flying here. Okay, and they see a good opportunity to just stay here to build up their experience level necessary for the next job. Okay.
On that, when we meet one-on-one, if you have concerns about being able to do the academics we ask you to do, and all the flying you have to do, then let me know that, so we can try and work with you. Because for the next few months, you're probably going to be working a little harder as far as flying goes. Yeah.
That's that.
I would hope
Larry, myself, and Mark will meet.
Yeah, and Jeff and Laurie are staying down here, by the way, and they asked us to let you know that if you're still down here and you're doing academics, they're going to be contactable all the time for you to get some mentoring if you need
Either
it.
face to face, Skype, whatever it takes.
Mark is going to be as well.
you've been raising your hand a few times.
I have a question regarding the students. According to the single engine course, not the add-on, there's a required 15 hours of complex airplane. And I know that the FAA has approved the Cirrus as a technically advanced aircraft, which could be considered as complex. Now, according to the WMU, can we use the Cirrus as complex as of now?
Not as of now.
When will we be able to?
Oh, well, let me answer your question a little more comprehensively. Our curriculum is designed that a student goes through and takes private, then instrument, then they have a choice of, do I go commercial multi or commercial single? And so the majority of our students do the commercial multi and never even fly the complex aircraft. For the last 10, 15 years, a lot of the students have not been flying the complex aircraft, the Piper Arrow. Recently, this past summer, the FAA said, tell you what, we're going to sunset this requirement for complex aircraft, and in lieu of that, student curriculums can be approved for a TAA aircraft, technically advanced aircraft. Our curriculum has been rewritten. Right now, the most current TCO, training course outline, is version 27. Version 28 is in Grand Rapids, up at the FAA for approval, and version 28 has no complex aircraft time in it. So we're just really waiting for the FAA to come back and submit or approve that. The reality, though, is that the majority of all of our students take the multi-engine out, okay? If the complex aircraft is no longer a requirement, then we can have conversations about should Florida students be eligible for the commercial single engine route. And I think the answer to that, you know, I'm answering before I'm really thinking this through all the way. Why not? Because before we were saying we're not going to be buying a second complex aircraft, a second Piper Arrow. But now that a complex aircraft is not required, I think that that's a possibility.
So when will this non-requirement for complex be able to be implemented? And if not, can you have, you said you have a Piper, correct? Up in Michigan, and almost all your students are taking the MOOC course. Can you possibly shut that down here for the complex requirements? Because I was thinking.
There's not a requirement for complex aircraft.
Exactly, but you said that it's not implemented yet.
No, for the way that students go through, it's private instrument, then the commercial multi-engine. And in the commercial multi-engine, the Piper Arrow, the Piper Seminole,
Yes.
is used as a complex aircraft.
Yes, but we have the possibility of going private and single engine.
Yes.
That is also a possibility. So being down here, we don't have a complex, we have a amphibious aircraft.
Yes.
Can we take that course now, or when is the earliest that we can take it?
I would anticipate, and this is just an anticipation, the FAA states to schools in the regulations that we are to submit our curriculum at least 30 days prior to implementation. That has been up at the FAA for more than 2 weeks now. So I'm thinking that the approval should be within the next 2 weeks.
Don't forget they were shut down for 35 days. So this is what happened to do as well. Yeah.
Question for you. Did you ever find out about if you go up there, we're gonna have to start paying out-of-state tuition?
We're still looking at that. If you were a out-of-state resident, we're looking at, we can work something out. I should know something within the next 2 weeks. What we're looking at is that you won't pay more than what you're paying here. Most likely, we'll be able to give you that resident rate, but we need to look at some more factors.
Like, I know right now we're paying somewhere between out-of-state and in-state, it just wouldn't make sense that now we're being
Yeah.
forced up there, not in the past.
No,
And then you gotta find room and board.
you do have to do room and board or apartments like what you do here. We won't cover room and board, but we would look at, if you have a current lease, we're looking at those to work with the agent directly, to work you out of that lease. We're looking at in-state tuition or something comparable. And we're also looking at, for those of you that would move up, the policy that we have in place for, moving costs. So, but some people have asked, will you pay my housing while I'm up there? No, we won't be able to pay your housing. Or would you give us a stipend while we're up there? No, we can't do that because we don't have a policy in place for that. But we will cover, we are looking to do similar to the policy that we have for employees, relocation. We're looking to do moving expense, tuition, and then the leases. So that's when we meet today too. I'm making notes of if you were a Michigan resident, because if you were already a Michigan resident and moved down here, then when you go back, you still have your Michigan residency. Or if you were out of state already, to look at that. And also if you have a lease, I'm pretty sure most of them are managed by the same person, but we're not sure with that. So, to let me know when your lease is up, who manages your lease or where you're at, all that information. And then we expect to have those answers for you exactly, like this is what it is, within the next 2 weeks. But I can say, that was one of the big questions, am I gonna have to pay out of